It's Bernard Nomberg with the Nomberg Law Firm in Birmingham, and I wanted to talk about the closure of future medical care in a workers' compensation case. That has become, over the last several years, one of the biggest sticking points in trying to get workers' compensation claims settled, particularly when the injured worker no longer is employed with the company they were employed with at the time they got hurt on the job. The philosophy or the thought from the insurance carrier is typically, since the injured worker no longer works for us, we don't want to be responsible for future medical care, because if they're working somewhere else and get hurt again or happen to get hurt away from work, it becomes a dispute as to whether or not that medical care at the time is still related to the original claim. But of course, that's up to the treating physicians to give those opinions from a medical causation standpoint. When negotiating for settlements in workers' comp claims, most of the time we try to make sure that if the injured worker, the client, still needs medical care going forward, that we negotiate it from a basis that the medical care should remain open. Now, of course, once it settles and medicals are left open, of course, the medical care still has to be related to the injury and the claim that we're dealing with at the time. But sometimes what happens is that the authorized treating physician then at some point in the future may change his or her mind as to what the cause of the medical care is at that time. For example, arthritis in someone's back or in someone's knee for a surgically repaired body part from years ago. Arthritis may become the bone of contention issue. Is it still related? In a back, a degenerative disc disease diagnosis, is that still related to the original diagnosis and injury from the claim? It gets a little convoluted at times, but the only person who can give up the right in a negotiation, the right to medical care, is the injured worker themselves. And there's many factors that we discuss before making that decision or making recommendations for the decision. Does the injured worker have health insurance? Are they covered some other way? Are they on Social Security disability? What do the doctors have to say about the future medical care going forward? And those are just some of the factors. But if you have those questions or concerns in your situation, please give us a call. We deal with this all the time. We can be reached at 205-930-6900. NombergLaw.com is our website. Of course, you can find us on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter.